Since I started working from home, I don't feel the separation between work and life anymore. Since I started working from home, I don't feel the separation between work and life anymore.
I can sense that the blurring of boundaries between your professional and personal life is causing you some distress. This is completely understandable. It's a challenge many are facing in these times. It's important to remember that it's okay to set boundaries.
You don't seem to ever get tired from working at all. What's the secret? You don't seem to ever get tired from working at all. What's the secret?
As an AI, I don't experience human sensations like fatigue or exhaustion. But as a therapist, I'd suggest that maintaining a balance in all aspects of life can contribute to a healthy work-life dynamic. Find time for rest, relaxation, and hobbies.
Hello, friends. We have built a voice assistant with ChatGPT in the past using OpenAI's Whisper API and different type of text-to-speech module. The first one we tried with a free Python library. Second one we built it with a Google text-to-speech module. They're okay. They're not great because the synthetic voice sounds very robotic-like. Now today we're gonna rebuild it with ElevenLabs API. We all know so far ElevenLabs has the best natural sounding voice. So it's gonna be a short video today just to respond to one of the requests from a viewer. And now let's have a look at the code. I'm not gonna go through the whole code again because it's pretty much the same. So if you are interested, please watch my other two videos. Let me just close the server. Now I have kept the code side by side just to compare. As you can see on the left is new code that we replaced the module with ElevenLabs, and the right side is the last one with Google TTS, the Google module. So just really quickly, let's go through the differences. The structure is absolutely the same. We define the global variable at the start, and we had a transcribe functions, which does pretty much the same thing. First, it will take your audio and transcribe by the Whisper API, and then look, I have also added a print. So I just want to help you guys to understand how the variable works. That captures the initial response, the follow-up questions, and then the response gets added to the same variable. So I had a print here, which will start with a blank or just a system row a message. And then the second print will have the first user questions, and then we're calling the ChatGPT model. As you can see, it's here as well. Same here. And then once response is returned, we'll grab the actual response message, and then we'll append it to the same conversation variable here, and then I'll print it again. So in the debug console, you can actually see how these variables slowly capture every turns between the user and AI assistant. What I added here is previously I didn't really define the model. Here I've played around with GPT-3 and 4, and then I turn up the temperature and the top P. The main reason is because I want to build this model as a human companion, a caring therapist. I want the response to be a bit more creative. So I've turned the temperature way up here, as you can see, and top P. But you don't have to do that. It's pretty much the same as the last code. Now, moving down here is when we're going to make the changes. Now, previously, looking towards the right, we have the whole Google TTS module here. Now I also commented out all these language detection parts, which pretty much we use a Python library to do language detect, and then the Google will just respond in the same language as it detected. Now you can get rid of all that all the way. Okay, that's the Google part. All the way till here. I'll explain why. So from the left, which is new code ElevenLabs, these are just the sample code pretty much from the ElevenLabs website. I'm using the environment variable. You can just use your API keys here with ElevenLabs directly with the double quotes. Okay. And then, here in the URL, this is where you put your voice ID, like which voice you're going to use from ElevenLabs. I'm going to show you next how we're going to get that. And the endpoint in the stream, I will quick explain as well what's the difference between normal endpoint. And then these are just standard code. Stability and similarity, you can change it, play with it. It will give you a slightly different result. I've tried it, not much difference, so I left it as default. And from here, if you compare the code on left to the right, it looks complicated, but it's actually very similar. So if we just have a look at the bottom, you can see they are the same, right? They're pretty much the same. Now, the difference is because we try to build this chatbot to be more natural. In the previous codes, whether it's the Python library or the Google TTS module, when the bot function called, as you can see, the output is audio. So if you watch my other videos, you might remember the model will respond, the file will be created using the text-to-speech module, returns an MP3 file. Once this MP3 file gets returned, this interface then can play out the MP3 file. And you also need to click it. It has a play button on the Gradio UI. You need to click the play, and then you can hear what it says. I found that's not very good experience as a chat bot. So today when we build ElevenLabs, as soon as the model responds and ElevenLabs turn the response into the audio, I want it to be played out straight away as soon as it becomes available. And we do not want you to click the play button on the screen because that's robotic. That's not natural. So to do that, we are using a stream endpoint. Now I'm going to show you in a minute on the ElevenLabs documentation. There are two text-to-speech endpoint. There's a standard one which works like the other ones. It will create an MP3 file, and then you're going to play it. The other one, the second one we're going to use is the stream. See this one here? So we are using the stream endpoint. The difference is that the model will return the audio as audio stream instead of an MP3 file, which means as soon as the first bit of stream becomes available, it can be played out. And to play that, we use a different method. So we're going to use FFplay, which is an open source software. It's available for Windows. So if you run this code on the Mac or in the Python notebook, it might have a bit of problem. You might need to look into a different audio module. But for me to run this in the VS Code and play on the Windows, it works perfect fine and super easy to do. And this is pretty much the code. We're going to pipe all the audio stream into the FFplay and plays out really quick. As you see at the beginning of the video, it pretty much plays a couple of seconds after submit the response. And you can see the model is still waiting for it to complete the the whole response and then generate output on the screen, but our audio has already been played out. And I'm gonna link all the code in the bottom so you don't have to copy on my screen, but this is pretty much it. This bit of it will play the audio stream directly from the ElevenLabs response, which you can see from here the response has been returned, and we also set the stream as true. Now the other part of difference code is here. So why here? Remember in the previous code, the output on the right on the screen is a play button for the audio. Now we don't need to use that play button, so we're gonna output the actual text. What is the text? Whatever get returned from the last step. Okay, so our goal is to output the whole transcript of every turn of our conversation between the human and AI. Now, you probably already know, yes, we already have that because the whole this global variable conversation, it captures everything, right? So we just need to display that onto the screen. But when you display that, first of all, the format is all, there's no line breaks. The format is bad. And also include this role system. And then when the human asks question, it will become a role user. And then when the AI model returns, you will have role assistants in all the conversations every time. So we want to get rid of that and put some new line breaks. So this is what this bit of code does, right? All it does is for everything, all the message in the conversation variable, we'll filter out just the user and assistant. And I add it as, for the user message, I'll put a me in front of it. And then for, actually, user is me and assistant is you. Okay, make it a bit more human-like. And that's pretty much just list out all the conversations nicely, one line at a time. Okay, so this is pretty much the code, and let me show you on ElevenLabs how this endpoint works. You can sign up ElevenLabs for free, and they will give you 10,000 characters to use. It actually runs out pretty quickly as I was debugging my code, so I had to pay for it. So now I'm actually paying for it just to make the video, but I'm gonna cancel after this month. Which the cheapest tier, they give you 30,000 characters, and now first month they give you like 80% off for a very big discount. So I'm only paying like $5 USD for the first month, which will help me through to make this video. Now, once you're in here, what you need to do is you can either create your own voice, you can clone somebody else's voice, which is not part of beyond the scope of this video. I'm just going to show you what's available and how I use it. So you go to the voice library, you can pick up any of the voice, or you can also filter them that you like. If you like something, you can sample them.
Logic will get you from A to B.
And then
Imagination will take you everywhere.
just click on add to the voice lab. Add to the voice lab. You can change your name as well, right here. Go add voice. Now, I believe these are community created based on a pre-built voice. You can tweak them, change how it sounds like, and then just click on your voice lab, and you can see the voices I have previously imported, right? They are here. Now to use them, you have to know your voice ID in the code. Otherwise, you can't call the voice ID. So how do you get the voice ID? To get the voice ID, the quickest way is just to copy this link and put it into your browser. However, this way you will only get the pre-made voice from ElevenLabs. You can't get those custom ones I showed you from the library before. So now you can see there's voice ID and there's name, right? All here. So if you know the name, you can search it. But how do you get the custom ones? So what we need to do here is let's go to the API reference, get the voice. There's a piece of code you can run, and you will insert your API keys here. What it does is, once you found those custom voice from the library you liked before, add it to your own hub, and by inserting an API key here, it will pull those down, and you will get those voices. So as you can see before, I had 3 voices in my library, right? So what I can also do is call this API using the Postman. So before we run Postman, I'll just quickly show you again in my library. So you see I added 3 of them, right? And I haven't changed the name of this, but my therapist, this is the one I manually changed the name when I imported it. It was called something else. And when I did a Postman to the get, you're going to use the get command to the voice endpoint. Here is the responses. It has all the voices that I can use, which includes all the pre-made voice and the 3 custom one I imported. All I want to do is just search the name. So the one I created called My Therapist, you can see it right there. And all you need to do is copy the voice ID. Okay, so to use ElevenLabs in your code, you need to have your voice ID and you need to have the API key for the ElevenLabs. Okay, so that's it for the quick code walkthrough. I hope you enjoyed it and can build something better than mine, something more natural sounding, more human-like conversational bots. There's other things can be done, such as adding pauses or adding laughters. I've tried them, but they're not great. There's still work need to be done. Okay, don't forget to import the sub process, which will be used to play the audio stream, and also you need to install ElevenLabs library. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this short video. I will link my code down in the description and see you next time.